And here we go. Here is the Hitchhiker Massacre. And if I can get the titles in there, it would be great. We're moving this up and down because this is what they call guerrilla TV, in a sense.
You want me to pull it out?
No, stay where you are.
All right.
It's great. It looks really great. And there we have it, and John is getting comfortable. And today we have two special guests before I join them.
Where are they?
Welcome
That's
to
right.
my nightmare.
It's Calista Carradine and John Barrymore. And I really am honored to have both of you on the show. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday about, God, there was a time when just there were two names. The royalty of film, the history of those two names, the Carradines and the Barrymore. I mean, it's just, it's an honor for me to have you on the show. That's the bottom line. I'm going
You
to join
probably
you.
know more about that than I do.
It's, my grandfather's actually in stage 5 of his career, so it's a good thing that Drew's out there keeping the name going.
See, Johnny actually, right before we did this film, Hitchhiker Massacre, he played Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Yes.
Well, that's right. I did see something on Facebook about that. Now, how do you prepare for that? That's interesting. Can you talk a little bit about that? How you prepared for that?
Yeah.
Being a Barrymore.
Yeah. Well, first of all, they called me from the Forest Theater in Carmel, which is a beautiful theater in the forest. Have you ever been to Will Geer's Theater in Topanga?
I've heard of
It's
it,
like
yes.
that. And so I said, when they first said Hamlet, I said, there's 38 other plays by Shakespeare, pick any one. Because my grandfather's a great American Hamlet, as he would openly admit if he were alive, because he's the last one that's not on film.
Really?
The legend only grows. I mean, there's no
Yes.
reality to compare it to.
Compare it.
But I said, let me do Richard. I said, you realize the climax of this play is a big sword fight, right? I'm almost 60. So they kept pushing, and finally I said, look, I'm not afraid to play Hamlet, okay? And even though I had played some very big parts in Shakespeare, including Tranio in Taming of the Shrew, which he has the most lines in that play,
Right, yes.
it's been 20 years since I did a play, and 8,500 words was a lot to get out there.
You know how many words?
8,500,
Well, no,
really.
my goodness.
In the
John.
uncut play, it's 11,500. We cut it down from 4 hours to 3 hours. Everybody cuts Hamlet, except for Kenneth Branagh, who did it in 4 hours and 5 minutes.
Really?
George Bernard Shaw said you can do it just under 4 hours if you pretty much race through it. But that's why, I die, Horatio. That's why my hair's growing back here to its
You're
natural
almost
color.
looking like the redhead I met back in 1970.
Let me see.
1973.
1973.
Yeah,
73.
1973. I always wanted to play Ophelia to your Hamlet.
Yes.
And you did Hamlet's last act, and I
Well-
was in New York, where you left me, and I didn't get to do that one, and I probably should have headed up there and played Ophelia.
There's still Lady Beth. It's a much more interesting part.
We could do, I mean, if you can play Hamlet, I could play Ophelia. We could go up there next summer and do that.
Yes, we could. I was
Nice.
actually, I'm very glad that somebody got me to play Hamlet.
Really?
There's no part quite like it. I mean, in spite of it being very big with a lot of words, in a way it's a very simple part. And
How is that?
well, the great conundrum, of Hamlet, why he can't get off the dime and kill his uncle and avenge his father, I think is very clear in the play. He has absolutely no interest in being king of Denmark, and I really believe it's his reluctance to be king that makes him so, makes him procrastinate so much on killing his uncle.
Wow.
His father, the ghost of his father,
Right.
his father clearly doesn't care for him at all, except as an instrument of his own revenge.
Now, did you study all the great Shakespearean books because of your name, or did you have your own interest in doing this?
Will Geer, the
Will
one with
Geer,
the theater
right,
in Topanga.
right.
I was doing her dad's show, Kung Fu. I was 20 and playing 15, and Will and I had lunch in the Warner Brothers cafeteria, and he said to me, an actor must do Shakespeare as a singer has to sing scales. It's simply something you have to do. and he offered me all these great parts at the Theatricum Botanicum, and I didn't know anything. I was like, shit, what the heck I do with my life? Well, of course, he was entirely right, and later on, I wound up doing quite a lot of Shakespeare.
I remember you were doing Shakespeare in 1980.
12th Night.
Right.
No, 12th Night.
12th Night.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great
And then you
part.
came out and played in Mata Hari with me. You came to New York.
That
I was
before.
pregnant.
That was 1980?
19, yes.
You gonna say, was that far back?
It was.
Malahari?
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah,
got
you
Well,
were-
it was shot in pieces over many years.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was David's concept that Calista would grow up in the movie.
Yes. Oh dear.
Sometimes when you hold it.
Technical difficulties.
Yes.
Where,
Now-
where shouldn't I hold it?
No, you gotta know. I ain't going there. Okay. Now, how did this new project come about that you're working on? This is a great month for it to come out in October, right?
Hitchhiker
It's
Massacre?
actually not going to come out till April, but
Really?
we have 4, 5 films.
Well, we have
in
Mata
post.
Hari that's actually still has a tiny bit left to be shot, and other than that, it's finished. Then we have, after that, we did Mansion of Blood,
Mhm.
and we're at a haunted party in Mansion of Blood. There's many characters in that film, and I sing on camera, which is an awful lot of fun in that. And you are gobbled up by your worst fears, I believe.
I'm the mayor.
You're the mayor, and we accidentally ended up in that film together.
We
Neither
didn't
one of us.
accidentally end up in that film.
Well, you didn't know I was
told
in that.
Calista that I was doing the film, and she should call
No.
Michael John.
I was already in it.
No.
Yes. I got this part at a Halloween party.
Michael John Donahue
No,
is the director, Tom Tangent was producer. And the way I remember is I told you about it, and I said, call there may be a part. Well, she not only got a part, she got a song that she wrote into the film performing. She'll make more money on it by far than
I
any
didn't
of
write
us
that
will.
song. John Solari wrote that song.
Well,
He'll make more money than either one of us
Yeah.
will in the film. Actually, that's the way that goes. Next time, maybe I'll use my own song.
there you go.
Yeah, which I did in the Loveless film, Robert Loveless, An American Hero, but we didn't do that together. The next one we did after Mansion of Blood was the human
guy-
trafficking movie.
Is it no? Is that the guy?
Oh no, we did
The one-
Nail House. We
That's-
did Nail House together, where you were married to my daughter in that.
Yeah, he kept forgetting to say action because he was the DP as well as the director. He would forget to say action, and the costume people, they wouldn't realize we were rolling. That's why in the next one, which is the one we did,
The one about human trafficking.
I said that, I mentioned that, and then, the sound guy said, quiet on the set, because there were people in the living room, we were shooting in the bedroom, and one voice came through the wall to ruin the shot. Siri's voice.
And then after that, then we did this movie.
This one, and it will
Hitchhiker
either be,
Massacre.
but it will either be this one or Mansion of Blood that comes out first.
I'm told
They're
to
in a
your
race.
third guest down here. I'm trying to get
Yes,
third
well,
guest.
she's quite
She wants me to keep doing it.
Now, Hitchhiker Massacre was a big change for you, going from Hamlet to his Hitchhiker Massacre. I saw you struggling with that.
that's
But you
showbiz.
do star in this. And when I saw Sally,
Yes.
the actress's name is?
Who? Oh, Ellie.
Grab your one sheet.
I get it. Say that.
I only think of her as Sally.
First name on the.
It's a James Bill's film.
I can't
And
read.
she was
Ellie
this sweet girl from a
Lamray.
small town.
That's Lamray. Ellie LeMay.
LeMay.
Ellie LeMay.
Yes,
See that?
Ellie
name?
LeMay.
Ellie
Yes.
LeMay.
Ellie LeMay starred in James Bill's Hitchhiker Massacre as Sally.
Really?
And she looks like this sweet, innocent girl from out of town, which I think is an alluring.
Yes, he that was his whole
It's
thing. was
perfect.
to get these girls who looked like models and to be the other girls.
Well, the innocence
And
is
the,
what I
to
thought was
get a girl who looked
enticing.
like a real girl.
A real girl.
Yeah, yeah.
But by the time she was made up,
She's pretty, but she's.
they got her
but
looking
she's
pretty
real.
sexy. They took away some of that innocence, which I thought
That's right.
was But, well, I can see why they did it, because that certainly sells, but the idea of putting a sweet, innocent girl in that role, I thought was more of a lure, but.
Yes, she also looked like a real human being in terms of like her shape. And the
Very
other girls were all
nice,
real
yes.
thin.
She had a nice figure.
What was it like working together, you two?
We were married in this film and the film before that.
We still
You
didn't have
realize
any
that?
dialogue together. We did in the film before that.
I
We-
know.
we
And
made
then,
all
no,
this
and
fil-
the film before that, we never looked at each other, remember?
Yes, but we had a scene together.
Yes.
I mean, you've been friends all these years and you have no lines.
Well, in Matahari we do.
But I mean, in this
Matahari-
film.
No.
In this film,
You're,
we were in the same scene, shot, but
you're
you know,
way back there.
she talks to me.
There's no
she
real
yells
contact.
at me.
We'll see that. That's Calista. Can I ask you, John, about training? How did you have theatrical training, like the method or some sort of?
Not the method. Actually, I run an actor's workshop, which I suspended. I lost the spot I had, which was a great location to go do Hamlet. So I'm looking for another location. But I was teaching. What I call it a workshop because I don't think you can teach the inner game of acting. Okay? I always say I can straighten out your speech and movement problems. I can give you the benefit of my experience, and I can show you the tricks, and there are thousands of tricks.
Tricks, yes.
But ultimately,
We call techniques, and some people call tricks.
well, whatever, yeah.
Really, I mean, that's really what it boils
They
down
are
to.
different,
Exactly.
I would say.
Really, yes.
Anyway, so a guy in my workshops was saying to me, John, how do I get to the next level? And I said, drop out of this class and go do a play. You're not going to get to the next level until you have the possibility of humiliation in front of 100 people. And Calista was listening. She overheard the conversation. She just went and did it. And she hadn't been in a play in 30 years?
I don't know. You know, I fractured my shoulder in 3 places during rehearsals.
Yes, I was going
I
to
said,
do
what are
it
we
with
going
her.
to do? I said, we're going to do the play.
Yes, I was going to do it with her, but I went to Kenya. I had an opportunity to go to Kenya. Sorry about that. But
I was looking forward to that.
the actor never followed my advice, but Calista just, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. And what was that play? It
Actually,
was Ken.
no, you weren't going to do the play with me because that was the rabbit hole
Rabbit hole.
that I did. You're talking about the skit I wanted to do with you.
No.
Yes, and you said
The
we
one-
get the only skit that's not a comedy.
They weren't skits. They were short plays. They
Right,
were
but
like
I did
they
a
were
one
like
act,
one
so
acts.
yeah.
Right, I didn't do a one act. I did the whole play of Rabbit Hole. Maybe you were still out of
The-
town.
It was Ken. You didn't do that one. You wound up not doing
Ken
that one.
Yulo had a workshop where we all did skits or one acts, but then
Did you do that
I
one
did,
too?
Yes,
Oh, so you did. She went and did
And-
2 plays.
and my
Yay.
and my daughter Mariah Carradine did a one act. She did it with my ex-husband.
Did Caitlin wind up doing hers?
Caitlin did one. Caitlin Carradine, Keith's daughter, who dances with
Chris's
paint on
daughter,
her
isn't
feet.
she?
No, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
Chris.
I'm sorry.
Chris, the one-
yes,
the
sorry.
one- the
Keith's
one
daughter. Why
Carradine.
would I say that? Keith's daughter is Martha Plimpton,
Yeah.
among others.
The
I
one-
know
They all
Martha
have
from New
others.
York, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his daughter. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caitlin, Chris Carradine, Christopher, was the one who was too smart to become an actor. He became a Disney Imagineer instead.
Yes.
But of course, even in death, you always become what you fear. As David Zaslav used to say that Walt Disney was a homophobic anti-Semite whose company is now run by gays, Jews, and gay Jews. So, proving even in death, you always become what you fear. So, Christopher, of course, he was too smart to become an actor, so his daughter, of course, became an actress.
I heard I heard a quote recently. I don't remember what. I was watching a movie. It said, "The way you lean is the way you break," and it's true. It's been said other ways.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. If you lean so far, you're going to break
Yeah.
that way or that way.
You know it's true, don't you?
Yeah, it's,
Mm,
yeah, I believe that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. It's my own philosophy is eat right, stay fit, die anyway. Might as well have
So
some fun
more
while
about
we're
our
here.
don't wanna
last.
lose your
More
face,
about our.
John.
More,
Oh, yes.
More about our last
You know,
picture.
hey, you know better than that.
More about our last picture, since that's the one we have. Then.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's talk. How did this come
Yes, so
about?
Mr. Bills, who I had worked for once before, Calista got me that job.
I looked
She
at
said,
mine.
And you played. What did you play?
a gay Lebanese director of an adult film.
Can I hear this? Can I hear the accent?
Let me see. Please, sir, do not upset my dog.
The dog is in the film, I hope.
She was
Yes.
in both films.
Right.
I did one day in I forget what the name of the film was. It was like a Showtime Joe Bob Briggs style.
Right.
I didn't do that one.
Yeah. CGI Sex Files was what it was called. There was no hardcore version. I was surprised to learn when James told me that. It was strictly like the Showtime thing. So he called me just 5 days before we started shooting. And he said, I didn't want to call you until I had all the money and, we're going next week.
Right.
And he called at the perfect time. It was, I said, sure, why not?
And you have a woman, the Woman in Blood scene? Can you tell us about the Woman in Blood scene?
Oh yeah, so he's casting this. I was there for the casting sessions. And I think 5 girls came in, and he's just the first 5 who came in, he hired. Of course, Bartlett brought them in, so they were all very pretty. And one girl said nobody asked her to do full nude. She said, well, I'll do full nude if it's tasteful. And to his credit, Mr. Bill said, there's no taste here. It's a slasher movie. Yeah. And she said, well, it's okay if I'm covered in blood. For some reason, she just wanted to get naked in front of the camera. Yes.
It is artistic, actually. I don't think that was a bad call. This is an anti-hitchhiking film for all you youngsters out there.
Yes.
Okay. Jaws made you afraid to go in the water. This film will make you afraid to put out your thumb.
Yes. And wary of guys with little dogs.
Which you should be.
Right.
Don't trust the man with the little dog.
Yes. Yeah. Grown-ups don't need help from kids, okay?
No, they don't.
I see you a lot at fashion shows too.
Were you there at Sue
No,
Wong's?
I see. Was it Sue Wong?
Yes, she's my favorite designer. I just love. She uses very classic
Yeah, she's
classic
great.
styles, very much like The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
Elegant.
Her statements on there are really
They
great on
are.
Facebook.
They are.
Yeah,
That woman, what she's come through.
I don't even know her story, but I'm a guy who, like, close your eyes. What am I wearing? I failed
Right.
that test 95% of the time. But her stuff I actually noticed because it's so
All
good.
covered with beads and lace.
Yeah, when I saw you, both of
Gorgeous.
you friends with her at the, in the photos, I thought, wow. Because I look at the things she says in the writing, and I kept thinking to myself, this woman must really be passionate.
Very inspirational. She's got to be passionate. It's
Yeah.
amazing what she does. I don't know how one human being can do that much great work.
Honestly, do you do anything beside act? I mean, are you an artist? Or, like Trace is a singer?
I disappeared into technology. I wrote software for 20 years
Oh,
for entertainment companies, defense companies, big companies. You know why the defense contracting business is like the movie business?
why is that?
Because if you ran any other business that way, you'd be out of business.
Really?
Yes. They both have special rules of profit and loss that don't apply to other businesses.
You also play the piano, you play the guitar,
Oh,
you
I played
play,
the
what
piano
else do
in
you
years.
play?
I played the clarinet.
And what you used
I played
didn't you,
at the clarinet.
did you play the dulcimer?
No, that was Pete.
Oh, you didn't play one of those?
Well, no. No.
I remember you used to play dueling banjos on the guitar,
Mhm.
which is
Oh my God.
a very complex song. And you also used to play As Time Goes By on the piano.
Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't, singing was the only thing I ever tried, put a lot of effort into that I wasn't able to do.
That's
So
because you didn't finish your Rolfen.
yeah, right. So I had to become a better guitar player because I couldn't sing. If I could sing like her dad could sing or like she could sing, which I was living with her dad, and everybody played music. So that's when I started in my 20s. If I could sing like you guys can, I would have learned 3 chords and I would have been fine with that.
So how many things did my father inspire you to do?
Getting me music, and of course, I was up there because I told Dad.
Your dad.
Yes, my father. I was a high school dropout with no other marketable skills at the time, and
A high school dropout genius, Mensa status.
I couldn't get through school with an IQ in the top 1%. I didn't understand why at the time.
That happens to a lot of smart people.
Yeah.
A lot of really smart people get very bored
Well,
in school.
yeah, well, there goes what I said about artists, actors. They have something that's on, and you have this genius of it that you are. I mean, there's the painters and this and that, and you have this knowledge.
Yes,
Well,
I know.
It's not even just like you're not a one-note Johnny.
No,
Or
I know.
Johnny would know.
My body of knowledge is like the sea. It's the Red Sea. It's broad but very shallow. I know a little bit about a lot of things, I'm an autodidact. And of course, in my grandfather's time, everybody was an autodidact. You went to school to learn how to read, and then you read.
Right.
I was blessed with the circadian rhythm disorder, so I've been going to bed at 5 a.m. since I was 7 years old. So even though I went to very high quality schools, I went to Mrs. Buckley and the Beverly Hills School, public school, when they had money. Because I had this, the only thing I could do and stay up all night and not get caught was to read. So I was reading way past my level and then sleeping through most of my actual school years. But I wound up getting a better education than most of my peers.
I would imagine that. Do you still have to go through this? You have to go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Apparently.
Yes,
Really?
and my youngest daughter has it, and of course, but her natural bedtime is more like 3 instead of 5. But she's on
Right
independent
after the
study
clubs close.
Well, that was us in New
now.
York.
No, she's
in the-
17.
yeah.
She just turned 17.
Well, that's still.
She's not clubbing it yet. She's in Monterey. There are no
Oh,
clubs.
good.
Yes.
That's good.
Today I get up when I was younger when I was going to bed.
Exactly.
Now everything reverses. The older you
Yeah,
get.
not so much for me. I'm still a late night guy.
Yeah.
As Calista can attest, when she came to pick me up for this interview, and I was asleep.
Sleep. Well, I had a feeling that, and I figured it's a Monday, and you've been playing all weekend. I said,
It's a holiday.
it's a holiday. It's Columbus Day out there, folks. Remember that. In
Happy
New York.
birthday, Columbus.
Yeah, Christopher. He come from Genoa, Italy.
Yeah.
That's where my family came originally, from Genoa, Italy.
Really?
Yes. That's
Is
why
that
the
in
blonde hair in northern Italy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you two didn't run into each other at the Actors Studio. Are you sure
Oh,
that you didn't?
The thing is, I never studied the method, but I used to go, when I lived in New York and I was a young, starving actor, you could audit for free. And I went there all the time to watch Lee teach and watch Shelley teach.
Yeah.
Lee Strasberg, even though I was not a method actor, never really was a proponent of the method, he did me one of the biggest favors ever. Sally Kirkland and I and one of Robert De Niro's wives were in 12th Night, the play we were talking about, and I was playing the fool, which is a good part. We were in a dump in Hollywood, but because these other people were in it, Lee and Anna and De Niro were all there on opening night. And we'd never really had a dress rehearsal, and something went horribly wrong. And I kept my wits about me, and after the play, Lee came backstage. He said, I just opened the Marilyn Monroe Theater. Why don't you move it over there? And we opened the Marilyn Monroe Theater and
Nice.
ran for 6 weeks over there.
Wow.
And Dennis Hopper came backstage one night. He went, I played Feste. And it was he did me a huge favor, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He was good. That you said you studied with Shelley Winters. When you're talking about Shelley Winters gave me the best advice I ever got as an actor. I was doing a scene for her at Actors Studio, and she told me, "Sit down, John. You're acting."
Yeah, there you go. That's yeah.
And,
I actually had a director say something similar to me I redid one of the acts of Rabbit Hole.
To
With Willa.
shoot it? To
Have
shoot,
you worked
to
with?
film it or
No,
video?
we did it for this for the senior center,
Oh, right.
and I got to work with Willem. Have you worked with him?
Willem. Oh, you mean Thibodeau?
Yes.
No, I haven't worked with him, but I like him a
love
lot.
working with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that youngster.
Jesse? Oh, yeah.
No, Jesse's really good.
Yes,
I
Jesse,
did not know that from your acting
Jesse
class.
came to my workshop. Okay.
I did a scene with Jesse. Do you know his last name?
Pacheco.
Jesse Pacheco.
Okay.
And I rolled my eyes, and then I worked with him, and he's brilliant. He's
Yes.
just lovely.
He came to my workshop. William brought him, and I put him with Nika because that was the best actor I had that night available. And I could tell he was very bright, very good actor, could take direction, which meant he listened, remembered, and executed. You'd think that would be a very common skill among actors, but often it's not.
Not today.
But I didn't realize he had something extra till after he left, and because you know, I'm not a woman and I'm not gay, but all the girls were
he
like,
is gorgeous.
they described him as Clooney-esque, and because he's very
I think
bright.
he's Greek, isn't he?
No, Pacheco's
He's
Hispanic.
Italian?
It's fairly common. I think
He
he's
looks like a Greek guy.
he-
He's
he's- he-
gorgeous.
he looks great, but he's got a certain charisma that I didn't pick up on. But all the girls, you know, I thought, well, this guy is gold. I have to keep him in the workshop.
Well, when he walked into rehearsal, and we'd been rehearsing without him, and he shows up for a rehearsal, and the moment he walked in, you could tell that there was something. He was playing a married couple. The moment he walked in, if your eyes were closed, you would be able to tell that there was trouble in this marriage. I mean, he was amazing. Just-
Yeah, he's very
I
good.
loved working with him.
Very good. And he was headed for a hockey career, and then injured his knee. And probably, I said, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
Well, is he working a lot now? I mean, do you see?
He will be.
Will he?
I'm quite sure that he will be, because you know, unlike some of us, he has the real world intelligence as well as book intelligence.
Yeah, he probably wasn't raised here, and he probably wasn't raised in the 70s. Oh, and he probably had parents that weren't actors. No, wait.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. Yes. You know, according to a
He
study by the
actually
Rand
plays-
Corporation, only 15% of American families are functional. So, first of all, it's glad to be part of a majority for a change. And second of all, when I mentioned that statistic to a girl I was dating, she said, I have to start dating a lot faster.
I believe Jesse also plays a great number of instruments as well.
Yes, he's a musician as well.
Yeah.
We're going to be running out of time in a minute, so I hope we can stay and do part 2. I'm really hoping we can do
Out
that.
of all the films we've done together, which is your favorite?
I don't. It's hard to say which. I haven't seen any of my. But I think the best scene we're going to have is the one from the one in the bedroom in Rome. Even though we didn't look at each other,
And the
we
human
did.
trafficking.
We did interact with each other quite a bit in that scene.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we're going to end for part 1 here, and we're going to come back and do part 2 in a minute. And I just want to tell you, you listen to The Method Actor Speaks, and I'm really grateful for John Barrymore and Calista Carradine to come on. This has been an honor for me, and I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want to come on the show, just let me know, all right? You can get in touch with me at 818-773-0991, and then we'll go from there.
You put your phone number on.
Yeah.